You're a cantaloupe.
5 long years he wore this watch up his ass.
These are my cactuses. I put googly eyes on them.
Sometimes when I'm driving, I have this sudden impulse to turn the wheel quickly, head on into the oncoming car.
Peter Pan has found a mother.
You want me to say what? Like, I don't get it. Is that it?
The ice is gonna break!
Welcome back to another episode of Walken 101, the podcast where we watch every walk-in project in chronological order. Now that could be movie, TV show, play, whatever we can get our hands on. I'm Kenny Johnson, documentary filmmaker, editor, and I really think very soon we should do that episode where we travel to, is it Princeton, where the secret walk-in project is? I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like,
Yale.
Yale.
I believe it's at Yale. Yale University, where we go there and we get the short film he did when he was maybe 13, The Boy Who Saw Through.
We should do that sooner than later.
Yeah, eventually.
And you are?
All right, fine.
Don't skip out on this.
I'm so tired, man.
That was my bad too, because I kind of like leaped into another walk-in thing as opposed to usually give a third detail about myself. I gave a third detail about the podcast. Kind of a cheat, but go ahead. All
right. Well, I'm Brandon Hardesty, actor, video maker, and just watching this movie that we watched today. And also as I'm trying to lose weight, I'm realizing that I've been wearing pants wrong, and that Christopher Walken wears pants correctly. Like,
what are you talking about?
Well, you know how...
Will you put the pants on backwards?
No.
Do you not zip it?
No.
Where do you put the pants? How do you wear them wrong? I'm just curious about that.
Or if you don't have a gut, your waist is technically... Isn't it like where your belly button is, or a little below your belly button?
A little below, yeah.
Yeah. So, but if you have a gut, then you wear your pants lower, and your waist, you really should be buying pants that are a bigger waist, but they're actually smaller. And like Louis C.K. did a bit about this, where he said when he was gaining weight, his waist kept getting bigger and bigger, and then once his gut started just spilling over his pants, his waist went back down to a normal size. He goes, "Oh, I ate my way through." So, but I'm learning now. Just we were watching Walken, the way he wears his pants. He wears them pretty high up.
Pretty high up. That's gotta be tight in the balls, though. I feel like that's like if it's up to the seam is pulling on your balls and your undercarriage taint area. It's just too. It feels like it's too high sometimes.
Well, then you get pants that where the seam is just
a longer seam.
It's just lower. Yeah.
Oh.
So how you doing today? We're very low energy today. It's very gray out.
Today was
it's
miserable,
dull, miserable. Really for no reason. It's just you said that you were just kind of very bored today.
Very, very bored today. You know, just a work day. You know, when you work, you just kind of you're doing things. Your brain's all over the place, and you're focused on that. And then when you try to do a podcast afterwards, because usually we do them on a Sunday or a weekend or time off, you just mentally you're drained, just tired, bored.
Yeah.
Just like I just want to go home and unwind. But I'm like, no, let's torture ourselves by watching this fucking movie.
The Dogs of War.
Dogs of War. 1980. 80? 81?
80. I think it's 80. Pretty sure. Although before we do that,
Shoutouts. Shout the motherfucking outs.
I got to memorize by now. Dougie boy, Doug Heavener, coming at you, Doug. Doug.
Number one, Doug.
Numero uno. And then we got Tom Byrne, baby.
The Burn Man.
The Burning Man. Tommy, baby.
Right.
And then Skeletor P. Funk, the sole viewer of our behind-the-scenes videos.
Soul in that funk man.
Yep. He's... I mentioned that, we do... whenever we get like a new... patron will make a pun about their name, about how they're wasting money, and we couldn't come up for one with Skeletor P. Funk, but then
we do owe him one.
He commented and he said that he doesn't feel like he's wasting his Skeletor P. funds. so I thought that was pretty good.
Well, you are.
Yeah.
Yes, but thank you once again.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Yep. And if anybody wants to support us, patreon.com/Walken101. And I think after that, did we do a Walken in our shoes?
We can do a Walken in our shoes. We can kind of go into how we're feeling
Yeah.
We'll continue on that theme of what we were talking about.
Conversation.
How it's a miserable, boring, bland day.
Yeah.
Tired. Don't want to do the podcast.
Yeah.
Don't want to watch this movie. Not that we don't want to do the podcast. The podcast is fun.
Yeah.
It's the process of getting through the movie, which is not fun.
Yeah, and there were not both of us when I kind of harp on you sometimes about going into a movie with a bad attitude.
Mm-hmm.
We were both not feeling good going into this.
But I tried to keep up the energy a little bit.
You
Ironically, I was like, all right, we're 43 minutes into the movie. This is kind of frustrating. Let's keep it up. I was promised a grenade launcher in the poster, in the promotional art. I was like, that's what I have to look forward to.
That's
Walking,
true.
holding a grenade launcher. I was like, okay, it's going to happen. So should we just jump into it? Should we just jump right into it and talk about this movie?
Sure. Dogs
Our
of War.
feelings towards it? Our general thoughts. The plot.
So going in, okay, so you look at the poster. You look at the original promotional poster for this movie, The Dogs of War, 1980, immediate follow-up to Heaven's Gate. And it appears to be an action movie. And
does.
even in the re-release of it, I believe there was a re-release, like a DVD and Blu-ray some years ago. It's Christopher Walken looking all warred up.
He's got the paint on the face, the hair slicked back, his eyes are all bulging, he's holding the grenade launcher, it's fucking explosions in the background.
Yeah.
Big, loud army font in the background, Dogs of Motherfucking War.
That's
like,
right.
You're fucking ready for this shit. You're like, oh, fuck. Hide the kids.
Yeah.
Don't let them fucking see this shit.
That's right.
Academy Award winner Christopher Walken. The Dogs of War.
The job pays $10,000.
15.
It's only a reconnaissance.
The Reconnaissance.
The reconnaissance is no good if you don't come back.
I always come back.
Could a well-trained, well-equipped mercenary force succeed?
Anybody want to know how we're going to do this?
Give me names, dates. I'll see to it the money gets paid. And run hard deals. These guys put up $1 million, so let's make sure there's change, because I figure we ought to keep it.
Cry havoc and let slip the Dogs of War.
Okay, so it starts off, right? The movie starts off, you got Dogs of War. Got some action music playing in the background. You're like, okay, what is this thing? And we cut to a scene. It's like Walken with his I guess his other fellow mercenaries, his soldiers. They're driving this Jeep. It's a fucking explosions. There's gunfire in the background. He's driving. He's like, oh, fuck, we're going to get to this plane. And they get on the plane and they escape. Like, oh, what's this?
Yeah, it really kicked off high gear. Like, this is intense.
Right.
And then there's some plot, some exposition.
Some backstory on who Walken is. He goes home. He's kind of paranoid. He's got guns everywhere. He's a dog of war. He's a mercenary. He's a hired gun. He does some dirty stuff. He does some nasty stuff for a paycheck.
A little off the grid. A little off, yeah.
And then he gets knocked at the door, and it's a guy offering him a job to go over to, what was it, Zingaro? Zingaro, over in Africa.
Yep, which at this point in time is like a North Korean-esque dictatorship.
Yeah.
It's this war-torn country. It's really shit.
It's shit.
Yeah.
He's going to go over there it's a recon mission. And he's going to pretend that he is taking pictures as a bird man. He likes taking pictures of the birds.
But he's actually taking pictures of this camp.
Yeah, dictator camp thing. We don't know exactly what he's just taking pictures of some bad shit that's happening, right? And this is where the movie starts getting really boring.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we realize at this point that it's just, this is all exposition, useless setup. And it goes on for about 45 minutes.
Correct. We're hoping we get to the point where there's got to be a reason for Walken to essentially, he's got to come back to the country to kick some ass. That's what I was hoping for.
That's what we were promised.
Right. Promised the explosion and the grenade launcher.
Yeah.
Okay? I keep thinking this the whole time. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is a movie where he goes over there, he gets screwed over, something happens to him, he has to, he gets kicked out of the country and he's coming back for revenge. He's got his team with him. They're gonna take care of some trouble. And I thought like a majority of the movie was going to be him and his mercenary team behind enemies' lines, taking out the dictatorship, something. I thought they're going to be doing something. But a lot of the film was dedicated to him talking with other people about stuff that was happening.
Yeah, not a lot of character development. At one point, there was a woman, and he said that he wants to move away with her to somewhere in the country, and she basically says no, and then that's scrapped completely. No, you never come back to her.
Nope.
I want to move. West. Colorado, maybe Montana. I want to get a regular job. Buy a house. All that. I want to go right now. I want to go yesterday.
You haven't changed.
No.
Then Walken decides to go do this crazy mission, and he was kind of scared of it at first, but now he's going to do it.
Right.
And then it's a lot of setup of him getting the team together for the next 35 minutes of him getting the team together and doing some more stuff and setting up the mission.
Like, imagine watching Ocean's 11 and it takes 30 minutes to get the crew together. There's that point in the movie where it's like, oh yeah, they're getting the crew together, and it takes a long time, and it's not interesting at all.
And this was especially frustrating because this is how I kind of looked at it as like, okay, this doesn't have enough action to be an action movie. It doesn't have enough suspense to be a thriller. It doesn't have enough intelligence really to be a drama. There's elements of all this stuff of genocide, of dictatorship, of money kind of ruling everything, where it's like you have rich people going to these mercenaries to tell them, okay, we want to take over this country. Go over there and you're going to throw a coup, essentially. You're gonna kick out the people, and we're gonna get in charge. We're gonna be placed in charge. And you had themes of, or these little touches of, okay, Walken does some shady stuff, he kills a lot of people. It takes a toll on him and his body and his soul. But
and us,
yeah, a huge toll on us. I'm not getting these. What, about 2 hours? I'm not getting them back. They're gone.
It was actually only like an hour 40 minutes.
Fuck you, no it wasn't. It was 2 hours. Because it was long as shit.
Yeah, it felt long.
And then it ended with a lot of explosions.
Yeah, meaningless explosions. At some point I was paying more attention to the movie on just a primal level. Like I laid on the floor about halfway through the movie, and I was barely paying attention to it. And then there were just louder noises and brighter images. So the box in front of me, like if I'm just like an ape, I was paying more attention to this thing in front of me that was louder and flashier. But he did use a grenade launcher at some point. That was exciting at first.
They really pimped out that grenade launcher. There was a lot of insert shots of that grenade launcher. Like, look at how silver and shiny. Let me pull it out of this box. I'm going to hold it right here. Because Tom Berenger was in it too. He had his own grenade launcher, and Walken had his own grenade launcher.
Okay.
Double product placement. So I did get one of my saddest shots I've ever shot in my video career. Brandon just kind of got to the point where he was just making explosion sounds. Can you give us some explosion sounds? Yep. He was doing that, right? Sitting on the ground. I went to the back of the room. You could see the TV in the background. He's making the sound effects just sitting on the ground by himself. And I'm questioning, who's he making these sounds for? Is it for himself? Has he lost touch with his audience? Will they it's just him alone in a room making the sound effects to the TV? It's his form of communication with the TV. The TV's making noise and he's making noise back. They're making music together.
Yeah, I had to do something to kind of entertain myself. I had a little burst of energy there for a while.
Jack Cardiff. I don't know if you know who that is. No. Legendary cinematographer. He was actually the cinematographer.
Oh, okay, that's great. What else did he do?
The Red Shoes was probably his most infamous film. He's done a lot of good stuff. He's worked with like Houston, Hitchcock, everybody. He's pretty awesome guy. Ed O'Neill. Yeah.
Ed O'Neill popped up.
married. He's not married with the children yet in this movie.
No, he's
single bachelor
still
guy.
Single. Nice one.
We mentioned Tom Berenger. He was in it. He got shot. There's some...
Oh, the main villain in Live and Let Die was in this,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure. African-American gentleman.
Remember, Walken says in it, he always comes back. I always come back.
I always come back. And then
From his adventures.
And when his crew, gets together and they kind of... They don't do this, but they have kind of a put their hands in the middle moment together, and he goes, everybody comes back. It was like a recurring thing. I don't know.
And then Tom Berenger didn't come back. He got shot.
Yeah.
Because he went into this one, like, when they're basically, they go into this city and they walk in his mercenary crews. They just go, and it's just full on genocide. They're just shooting and killing and blowing up everybody and everything in sight. Children, women, men, everybody. And Berenger bursts into this one house, and there's a woman just like kind of sitting there, and he's like, oh fuck, I can't kill her. And then she pulls out a gun, bam, bam, bam. He's dead on the ground. Walken, on the other hand, bursts into another house. He sees somebody gone. Motherfucker's gone.
Heart of ice.
Spoiler alert. Walken met a nice doctor in the first half of the movie.
When he was being tortured.
When he's being tortured.
Yeah.
And then he helps. So he overthrows the dictatorship, and he is told, okay, the money man, this rich asshole white man, is going to try to get this other person to be the new dictator, because there's, I guess, plutonium or platinum. Plutonium. There's some type of thing that of course the white man wants to exploit. So he's going to put somebody in power that he can control. But because Walken met the nice doctor, Walken says the doctor's now in charge, and then he shoots the other guy who's supposed to be the new. Right. None of this makes fucking sense. Even when I'm explaining right now, I sound like an idiot. I can't. I'm like the words that are coming out of my mouth, and I'm listening to myself. I'm like, God, can you try to make it seem? Can you try to have it make more sense? Because you sound like an idiot right now. You're rambling. You get really frustrated with yourself. Yeah, and that's what just happened right there.
Well, what about Walken's character? What do you think
talk
of his
about
character?
Walken's character.
His name was Shannon?
Sure.
I think that was in the credits. But his cover name was Mr. Brown.
Keith Brown.
Keith Brown.
How come I remember his cover name better than his actual character's name?
That's true. Yeah. I had to be reminded of his real name.
He kind of had moments of, you feel kind of sorry for him, because he's like, he goes to the doctor, and the doctor's like, you got these problems, you have dysentery, you have this, you have that, broken ribs, all this, concussions, and you're killing yourself. He had glimpses of, like, you feel sorry for this character, but he really is just a cold-hearted killer at the end of the day, who's just doing it for money.
Yeah, he's just totally desensitized and going on these missions.
There seems to be some type of heart in there buried deep inside, and Walken kind of did it. This is almost like the opposite Deer Hunter. You think about it. The Deer Hunter, it's this guy who goes over to war, and he gets really screwed up as a result of it. Right. And this guy at first seems like he's confident and he's got everything in control, and it's like, okay, maybe this is going to be a little bit different. He's a leader. He does stuff for money. But then he has a little bit of this breakdown at the end, but he's still in control. He doesn't completely break down and go crazy like he does in the Deer Hunter. He's, it takes a toll on him, but he's going to be able to function and do something the next day.
Yeah. I will say that, remember we were talking about, as we were watching the movie, like, there was this one monologue he had. So he's in there, he's in this country in the beginning of the film, and he's undercover. as a photographer for exotic birds.
Right.
So he's in the bar and he's drinking with this other American journalist, and then this soldier comes in and he's been keeping an eye on Walken, and so he tests him. He's like, "Oh yeah, maybe you can tell me what species of bird this is." And then Walken, he gives him the answer, and then the answer to a bunch of other species of birds, and he does this monologue in a very fun, colorful way where I thought, this is the first time we're getting a glimpse of the Walken that we've come to know. The future Walken, where he explores and has fun with characters and makes odd decisions that may or may not work, but you still appreciate them because they're so unique. And it was this fun monologue. Maybe we'll just put it right here so you can listen to it.
And what about the bubbling Sisticola? The Esmeralda troglodytes? Then there's my absolute favorite. And yours. Nectarina famosa. Here's to him. God bless him.
And we were talking about, we should kind of label these different eras of Walken. Like there was Walken where he wasn't well known. He's doing little bit parts, Hawaii Five-0, doing Kojak.
Yep.
And then boom, stage 2, he's blown up. He's doing Annie Hall, he's doing Deer Hunter.
Yep.
And then we're getting into the 80s where there's some really good shit coming up. But there's also some kind of wacky and maybe some bad stuff in here that will be more entertaining because he's at a point in his career now. He's won an Oscar. And he can do whatever the fuck he wants in a movie. Yep. I think at this point, where a director isn't necessarily going to say no all the time, and Walken has a certain amount of control. So we're going to start seeing Walken blossom. I think. I think so. We're getting into stage 3, I think, which is kind of a mixture of really good shit in the 80s and a little bit of Walken getting into the fun, wacky Walken that we've come to know. Before we hit stage 4. Which is just full-blown, he's on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he's a caricature of himself, really.
Yeah, and he goes through this phase where it's absolutely ridiculous.
Right. You're more interested in watching him, and you're more laughing at him as opposed to with him, and maybe he's a little bit in on the joke? I don't know.
I don't know about laughing.
I'm laughing at him. He's doing funny, weird shit, and I'm like, God, this guy is nuts. That's what I'm thinking, and I'm pretty sure other people think that too. Probably. You, on the other hand, you don't think that.
Well, now wait a minute. I have laughed at him before. If I'm being honest with myself, Peter Pan Live is a dumpster fire.
It's dumpster fire.
It's ridiculous, the shit that's in it and the shit that he does. But there's always this likability with Walken for me. I can watch something and I can even not like something that he's done, but I still love the bravery and just how he doesn't give a shit and he'll go and explore something and do it in a fun, unique way. There's the appreciation of having the willingness to explore. Mm-hmm. That's what I like about Walken.
So what did you learn from this movie? What did you learn about the man? Watching it today, did you learn anything?
About him? Yeah,
Did you learn anything today?
I learned that, did I mention this already? I know I said this, but I don't know if we recorded this.
Say it again.
Where it's a movie's really bad if you just can't follow it.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. It's like a collection of experiences of Walken movies that we've watched so far, this being one of them, and there are several others, where a movie can be bad but still fun to watch if you can at least fucking follow it. At some point, the car was just driving away. Imagine the plot is just a car that's driving away and you're trying to catch up to it, and you just can't at some point. And then you choose to go from a run to a jog to a walk, and then at some point you just lay down.
You lay down on the ground,
which is what I did about 45 minutes in. I laid down on the floor.
No, it's about an hour and plus. You went in for you were upright for a while.
Yeah.
All right.
It
was probably the last 35 minutes you were on the ground.
Yeah, probably.
So, don't sell yourself short. Okay. So we'll get to the I guess the rating part here. We're trying to bring the ratings back. Okay, there's a great scene in here where Walken takes a piece of glass and shoves it in a man's mouth and says, "Now talk." How many pieces of glass in the mouth would you give this movie?
1.5.
See, now I'm going for the more negative approach. So, if I'm putting glass in your mouth, I want to put in as much as possible. So I'm going to give it 5 glasses in the mouth.
Oh, so it's reversed.
It's reverse in this case.
Oh.
So the more glass in the mouth, the more painful it is, and that's how I want the people who made this movie to experience that. I want them to experience glass in their mouth. I want it to be uncomfortable. I want it to be bad. So I would give them 5 pieces of glass in the mouth. So in the star rating, it would probably be a 0.5 star.
All right. What was this? Is Last Embrace still at the bottom of the list for you?
That's tough because this movie, my mindset was really in just a I didn't want to fucking do this today kind of mindset. So that played a big part in it.
We both went in with just a bad mindset.
This was up there. Yeah, I would say this is up there. This is pretty much neck and neck with Last Embrace.
Neck and neck.
Yeah,
really.
If not, this could overtake Last Embrace because it was really just. It was a lot of exposition after exposition. Last Embrace was just a fucking train wreck. Mm-hmm. It was a garbage fire on a train wreck. Dumpster fire. Just this is tough. This is tough because it's so hard to be like, which one was worse? Did you like the least? Because I really hated both of them.
I think Shoot the Sundown is still at the bottom of the list for me.
Yeah,
that's the absolute worst. That was a blur.
Yeah,
absolute.
This was going to be a blur too. I feel like.
Yeah.
So, well, what's next on tap?
Next on tap, let's. Pennies from Heaven. We have. From Heaven. I'm looking forward to this because this has. This is nominated for 3 Oscars. Steve Martin, Bernadette Peters, 1981. And this movie has a scene in it where Christopher Walken dances. It's referred to a lot when people talk about his dancing. People talk about Pennies from Heaven. So
all right.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it. I like The Jerk. I don't know if it looks like Steve Martin and Bernadette Peters. They worked together again because of their success with The Jerk, it seems.
And this is now when you think Steve Martin, you're like, okay, it's comedy, right? But no, it's drama, musical, romance. That's what it's labeled as. So is there any type of comedic element? I'm pretty sure there is. During the Great Depression, a sheet music salesman seeks to escape his dreary life through popular music and a love affair with an innocent schoolteacher. Okay,
I'm in. I'm ready to be transported to another magical place. I'm ready to watch a musical. I love musicals. I'm
so on them.
I'm a fan.
If they're done right, I like them a lot. If they're not done right, it's a pain to sit through. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. This looks intriguing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm interested.
Could this be one of those films that maybe derailed Steve Martin a little bit? Because didn't he have he was going through a hot streak of.
Even after Pennies from Heaven, he still had a lot of success.
That's
didn't
true.
he do Roxanne after that? And
yeah,
and then I guess
Three Amigos,
and he get into the '90s, and he did Father of the Bride.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is like a lost gem. Or
I'm also interested to see Steve Martin in a serious role. I always like seeing a comedian really pull that off well. I always enjoy that.
I really hope this isn't a Heaven's Gate type of scenario where we're setting ourselves up for it. Because when we went into the podcast before Heaven's Gate, we were talking about we didn't really know anything about it. Mm-hmm. And then there's all this history about the biggest flop in cinema history. And it's this is a fucking horrible movie. You need to watch out for it.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about this movie or the history of it. Does that make it more exciting to us?
Well,
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, well, we are I'm gonna have to do at least a little bit of research when I look up people talking about this movie, any interviews with Walken where he talks about this movie. I feel like the few things I've seen about it, it's not a lot of bad things to say.
Interesting. All right, well,
so we'll see.
Fingers crossed. We need a good one.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to a good one. And the Dead Zone's coming up soon.
Right. Deer Hunter was good.
Yeah.
Annie Hall was good, but that was for different reasons. That's been about it. Roseland was all right.
Yeah, Roseland was all right. Hawaii Five-0 was kind of enjoyable, just
because it was 45 minutes long. That's why I enjoyed it. It was short.
It was short, and it was like fun and campy to watch. Yeah. You get a little glimpse into what the 70s were like, which seemed shit. Before we tap out here, I have a secondhand Walken.
Oh yeah,
story. Secondhand Walken, of course, is when we read an anecdote. Could be secondhand or third-hand anecdote about Christopher Walken. All these stories out there about him could be true, could be bullshit. This one seems to be true because it's coming straight from an actress.
Actresses lie.
Well, that's true, but there's no reason to lie about this. This seems like funny.
All right,
take
it away.
This comes from actress Maggie Q. That's how she. That's like her stage name.
I know who she is. Yeah, she was. She was in, I think, one of the Mission Impossible movies.
Okay,
like the third one. This is her.
Yeah. Okay. So she worked with Walken on some project. I don't have the exact film she worked on him with, but she worked with him, and people asked. She did. Hold on one second.
I know what it was. It was the
Balls of Fury. You're right. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah, Balls of Fury.
Okay,
and she talks about Christopher Walken in a Reddit Ask Me Anything. She says, Christopher Walken is not going to be cracking jokes with you. The reason why Christopher is funny, my assessment of him, I can't say this is set in stone, but my assessment of him is that he is sort of bored with people. Because everyone worships him, because he is Christopher Walken. So Chris would do things to amuse himself on set. And one thing that he does that he loves is he likes to lie and say it's his birthday. Because he wants everyone to buy him a cake and sing to him, and it's never his birthday when he does this. So I heard from other friends, I think Lawrence Fishburne told me this, and Dan Fogler, had heard from someone else that he did this. So one day I come into work, and there's a birthday cake. It's half eaten. I grab a piece, and I say, whose birthday is it? And they say, it's Chris! And I knew it wasn't, and so I went up to him on set, and I said, it's not your birthday. And he chuckled like a child. It's the best, right? I mean, he has to do things to amuse himself, because I don't think people challenge him anymore.
Well, next week when we have him on, I'm going to fucking challenge him for sure. I'm going to be like, the grenade launcher in this movie, do you still own it somewhere? What was it like firing that bad boy off?
Yeah.
I'll challenge him on so many things. I'll challenge him to a foot race.
Just fucking grill him, man.
I will. Walken, I know everything fucking about you.
we are slowly acquiring anything we will ever need to know about this man. We're gonna, by the end of this journey, we'll have read every interview, watched every clip, almost anything out there about him. We'll know a lot about his personal life, I'm sure.
Yeah. I don't even like Christopher Walken that much, being perfectly honest with you. If I were to meet him, I don't really get starstruck. I really don't. Very few people I'd probably ever get starstruck with. I'd probably be like Bill Murray. Maybe Ricky Gervais, because I think he's hysterical.
Yeah.
Obama.
So why don't you like? Is it just the way he is, or his,
Walken?
Yeah, Walken. Is it because of his personality or the characters that he plays? Like, what is it about him?
It's not that I don't really like dislike him or don't really like him, or I don't like him. I don't dislike him. It's just kind of neutral with him. There's not many actors out there that I really, really like, really look up to and really enjoy. It's I wouldn't say enjoy, but like really idolize and put up on this pedestal. Like, oh my God, it's that one actor. You know? It's more of like the directors, the people behind the camera that I would maybe get starstruck with.
Yeah.
some of the directors or cinematographers that I like. If I were to meet them, it'd be really cool, but also probably awful at the same time because they know so much more and, you know, they've accomplished so much more, and it's just like you know, you can't keep up with them. But yeah, Walken is he's just always been there, you know. It's like, do you really appreciate him? You think about it. It's like, do I really appreciate him? Or I just see him in these roles, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's Christopher Walken, you know. Like
he's always there.
He's always there.
It's more of a comfort to know that he's there,
right?
And it's not like, oh wow, he's there. He's just it's good to know he's around.
And also, everybody, quote unquote, loves Christopher Walken. Everybody has an impression of him. Everybody like, oh, they all have a Walken story. So it's just like it gets kind of frustrating. It's like, all right, I get it.
Yeah,
everybody likes Christopher Walken.
Wow. So
everybody likes it.
So that being said, we got another 2 years of this.
I've done worse. I've done worse, and I've done absolutely chaotic things with my life.
Yeah.
Why not? Why
self-destructive things?
Because at the end of the day, I can say I sat through and watched every Christopher Walken movie, TV show appearance, play, etc.
Yeah.
In chronological order.
And then people will say, why? And then your response?
My response to why is because life is full of experiences. You just have to say yes to really weird shit. And then just see what happens. See if you learn something about yourself. See if you learn something about movies.
See, I like that.
Right.
I like the idea.
Just say yes.
Just say yes to weird shit.
Just see where it goes. See where it takes you.
Well, that's very inspiring. I think that gives me a good attitude going on.
Right.
Yeah, and
just say yes.
Just say yes.
All right. Well, that about does it for this week's shit-isode. Shit fucking movie episode. As always, we want to give a special thank you shout out to Render Perfect Productions for lending us some small but very important sound equipment to record this podcast. If you want to check them out, go to myrender.com to get more information on any video production or web marketing that you need in the future. Make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes, like us on the Facebook. We're on Soundcloud. We're all over the place.
Yeah.
And like we said at the top of the show, help support us on patreon.com. We got a lot more of these coming down the pipeline.
Oh yeah,
a lot more.
This is the wellspring of material is not going to be tapped soon. There's a lot coming down the pipe,
and we got to do the Yale episode. I'm really excited about that. Us driving to Yale to watch a movie, a 30-minute movie, right?
Yeah,
that's going to be a fun adventure.
Yeah,
that's going to be a really fun adventure, and we're filming behind the scenes stuff about us making these podcasts, and that would be a really fun episode to see us behind the scenes driving up there.
Yeah, definitely. That might be like. We'll have so much footage that we should at least give some to the public.
Yes.
And then maybe keep a few gems for Skeletor.
Yeah.
Our sole viewer of our behind-the-scenes videos.
Yes. All right. Well, as always, thanks for walking with us.
Yeah? Just for you. Podiceps, cristatus, hydrobates. There's more. Pelagicus. Right?